So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start recording this. This is the CES 2022 virtual preview press conference, and yeah, let's see what they have going on for CES this year.
Additional questions, just put them in the chat box. But before I turn things over to Gary, let's get in the CES mood with a short video.
Wish there was a way to full screen this, but...
The world's largest, most influential technology event.
I saw that wall.
The technology that we build can make a huge impact on people's lives.
As those elements change, design changes.
In the tech ecosystem. Or I think.
Glad to see the digital stuff's going strong. Little over the snapping, but pretty good. January 8th. It's my birthday.
Hi, I'm Gary Shapiro, President and CEO of the Consumer Technology Association, owner and producer of CES, and I want to welcome you, the most influential members of the press globally, to this first 2021 global press event we are having around the world. The good news is that live events are back. We've been in Amsterdam, in Paris, in New York with live events the last few weeks and with over 1,000 people attending. And what we've seen is the pure joy of people getting together because in-person events are where the magic happens. You can't replace, especially at a trade show, when you're walking the floor, the seeing what's going on, how a company presents themselves. This full 5 sense experience, the hearing of the music, the touching of the products, the introduction of new services and the meeting of the people. But of course, CES isn't just about product launches. It's also a platform for policy discussions on really big issues. Think about privacy, the environment, supply chain challenges. These are the issues we're talking about at CES with leaders of the world, both company and governments, that understand why these issues are important. And technology has certainly been in the headlines lately, so those discussions at CES will even be more important. And of course, we have a phenomenal lineup of speakers, and I want to start with a new announcement and sharing with you for the first time a C-Space keynote discussion. For those not familiar with C-Space, it's our home for marketing, advertising, media, and entertainment. The entire community of all 4 of those sectors come together at CES. And we'll host a discussion of how marketers have kept up with customers and improved the customer experience in the pandemic era. It'll be moderated by MediaLink Chairman and CEO Michael Casson, and it will feature Instacart President Carolyn Everson, as well as GM Chief Digital Officer Edward Coomer, and McDonald's Chief Marketing and Digital Officer Tarika San. It will join a great lineup of the speakers we've announced, including Samsung President J.H. Han, who will talk about sustainability. Also, Peloton CEO John Foley,
they always get a lot of good CEOs at these events.
Liz Clayman will have a wonderful fireside chat. And T-Mobile CEO Mike Severt and Abbott CEO Robert Ford will also be featured speakers. We already announced also that GM CEO Mary Barra will also return to the CES stage. In fact, GM chose CES 2021 to announce its move into EVs. And this year, GM will unveil its new Chevy Silverado EV. That's something that Mary has been talking about on business networks in the United States the last few weeks. Of course, we'll also host conversations on the big issues shaping consumer technology, which leads to my next big announcement. In our new Great Minds speaker series, we're featuring leaders who think outside the box and are moving the tech world forward. We'll have Waymo CEO Takindra Mawakana, Moderna President, of course, Moderna is very much in the news lately, Moderna President Stephen Hogue, X's captain of Moonshots, Astro Teller, Sierra Nevada owners Aaron and Fatih Osman, and more. Leaders of several different industries will be speaking there. Of course, CES is also about new breakthroughs. And each year, one of the favorite parts, which epitomize the very mission of what we do at the Consumer Technology Association in terms of fostering innovation, is the startup area. It's a fundamental viewpoint we have at CES.
You see stuff there that will never make it to market, but it's fun.
The ecosystem for solving the basic problems of humanity. And year we see more breakthroughs, especially in this now 2-year period since our live event. We'll see it at Eureka Park, the startup pavilions. In fact, we'll have a major international delegation spanning nearly every region of the world. It'll make Eureka Park the world's largest startup event. We'll have over 100 startups from the Netherlands, and the Italian delegation will be up by over 40%. Both of those are setting records. And for more on what you can expect to see at CES 2022, I'm turning it over to Karen and Jean.
Cherry picking
Thanks, Gary.
the European
So,
country
Karen, we're
startups
set up this
seems
morning.
weird.
I feel as if we're on like a TV show, the morning show with our coffee. This is really fantastic to see such a strong interest from the media for this event. I will say when we do registration, the group from the media are historically the last to register.
That's true.
But we're seeing so far over 1,700 of you have already registered from around the globe. And that's representing news agencies, the broadcasters, the business press, the tech press. And many of you are on this call today. So we're really excited about that. And we can't wait to get everybody back
That's me.
together with us in Las Vegas. So before we jump in, we're going to take a little bit of a quick poll. I know that some of you, when you were in the waiting room earlier, participated in our poll, so indulge us for a little bit longer. The question I want to know is, what tech are you most excited about to see at CES 2022? So go ahead and complete that poll. So Karen, while we're waiting for the results,
I did.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm kind of excited about seeing food technology. I mean, everybody's had to cook so much more these last 2 years at home. So it's kind of interesting to see what new ways we'll be able to do that. How about you?
I'm really interested in space, not to kind of, talk too much about what you're going to cover, but there's some really cool things going on in space technology. So that's an interesting one for me. And of course, I always love to see what Google are doing. If people have been there before, they've got this great exhibit in Central Plaza.
Space.
A few years
I'm
ago,
not
it was a roller coaster.
too
Last time it was
excited
the
about
slide in the
space.
ball pit. Will say probably wasn't recommended for somebody with back problems like me, but it was a great experience. So, okay, looking at the results. So the winner is smart home, closely followed by vehicle tech. So that's interesting. So we'll cover some stuff on that.
But not surprising with
But
everybody
not-
being at home, right?
Not surprising that they're all at home. Okay, so Karen, let's
Surprised
talk
more people didn't do
about what
food,
people are
but
gonna see
vehicles seems to be a huge thing for
Sure.
CES.
So, I mean,
So-
can we say enough? We're so excited to be back live in Las Vegas. And I think, more importantly, Las Vegas is so excited to also have us back. They missed us dearly last year, and it'll be really, just warm and welcoming to go back to a city that has hosted us for so many years. So what you're going to see at CES 2022 are big name companies on the show floor. We have right now over 1,700 companies that are committed to date, and we're adding more each day. We have everybody from Amazon and AMD to Google, LG, Microsoft, Samsung, Sony, and that's just to name a few. I mean, obviously, there are many, many more brands. We're also introducing this year 3 new categories for CES 2022. And one that I just talked about is food tech. And here you're going to see everything from food production to plant-based foods to automated restaurants.
Good.
and food
That needed its own
preparation.
section.
And
I think it
Jean,
was
yours
in
here
with
is
the smart
also
home
listed, which
stuff.
is space tech.
I want to go to space.
You want to go to space, CES in space, maybe, huh? Maybe one day. You'll see space tech throughout the show. We have companies like Canon, Intel, Qualcomm, who are showcasing technology and things that they're doing already in space. And then we have some new companies like Zero G and Sierra Space, who is a company that has actually been contracted by NASA to take goods to the International Space Station. And so what you're going to do
Private
is if you
space
go
is a
to
bit of
Central
a-
Plaza, you'll be able to see
I don't know.
Sierra's space
Obviously,
exhibit, which is gonna
SpaceX
showcase a little bit
and
about how they're
Blue
doing,
Origin have been getting a lot of
or how
backlash,
they're doing
but
that, how
yeah.
they're getting those products into space.
And the founders, as Gary mentioned earlier, the founders, husband and wife team, which is really cool. They're actually going to be on our stage.
On our Great Mind
yeah.
series. Yeah. So kind of, again, space is everywhere.
Space
Ha,
is
ha.
everywhere.
All right. One of the other areas that is new this year is NFTs and digital currency. Here you're going to learn about the latest in digital assets from
Oh,
companies like
no.
Autograph, who's a platform for NFTs for sports and entertainment. And I'm also going to talk about some of the areas of the show now that are, growing and that we're seeing growth in for CES 2022. First, I'm sure you can all imagine digital health is a big area for us at CES 2022. You're going to see digital therapeutics, mental health solutions, wearables, and telehealth services. And then one of the second areas of
All
growth is
good.
automotive technology. This actually has outgrown the size of the space that we had in CES 2020.
So we've had to move.
We've had to move. We now have all vehicle tech in West Hall, and it's over 185 plus exhibitors. Here you're going to see highlights in both self-driving technologies, but also electric vehicles. Gary had already mentioned that GM is one of the companies that we have, but we have many of the major manufacturers and players in self-driving and electric vehicles, and also even last mile transportation solutions. We also are really excited to have the India Autonomous Challenge at CES. So this was actually something that took
This
place
one might be
a couple
fun.
weeks ago in Indianapolis, and this is where they were.
It's an autonomous race car.
And what they did is we're clocking the cars at over 130 miles an hour. And what they're doing now in Las Vegas during CES is they're going to do the first ever head-to-head high-speed autonomous race car competition. And it's going to be live at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
It might be the future of NASCAR. No more drivers, but just teams and crews and cars.
So for non-US people like myself, you know, that might not know the IndyCar racing, I mean, think about it as Grand Prix cars, self-driving, which is really, really pretty cool. For me as a marketer, one of my personal favorite areas of CES is C-Space. That's the home for marketers, the advertisers, the media platforms, and the entertainment community that all come together. We host that at the area. And it's a great community of people. We've got some really big names this year in entertainment, including NBC Universal, Warner Media, Discovery are going to be there.
Love her accent.
We've got advertisers like Amazon Advertising and Samsung Ads, and social media platforms like Snap. So this is a really great place to really find out about what's going on in the world of advertising, entertainment, and marketing, and how tech is shaping that industry.
And why NFTs are going to be there, because every brand's trying to figure that out.
Every brand is looking at NFTs and what does that mean for their brand, as is every celebrity. I've not quite bought my first NFT yet, but you know, I'm looking at it.
Maybe we could sell this online as an NFT.
NFTs are
we sell a session
dreadful.
So let's talk a little bit about media days. Again, for those of you who've been there before, you know that there's 2 days pre-show that are dedicated to media only, so media only access. And those events happen on January 3rd.
How are we balancing digital and in-person aspects of the show?
We're going to be kicking things off on
Will there be an interactive map online?
Popular tech trends presentation from my colleagues at CTA on the market research team. This is a sold-out event. That's
obviously going to be yes.
Into another room, and it is just. I always remember it's just a sea of people taking photographs of every single slide. That's
but this year we are social distancing, so we'll have social distancing.
We'll be really spread out this year. But
they already addressed that.
You know, it's a great way to kick off the event, and then moving from that, again, the ever popular Unveiled Las Vegas will happen on the evening of the 3rd. This is where you're going to be able to get hands-on experience with the products before they're on the show floor. So you're going to get in, be able to work with the products, play with the products. You know, it's always a great event. So that's, again, back. Unveiled Las Vegas will be back. Then you can join us from the Media Day press conferences on January 4th. We've actually got 20 companies doing press conferences live, and they're all also going to be streamed on the digital platform. I mean, some of the brands that are coming back this year for the press conferences are LG, Panasonic, Sony, and Intel. Obviously many more, but some really great names there will be doing the press conferences, and a few surprises as well of companies who are going to be taken to the press conference area. So Karen, we've talked about the types of companies that are coming to CES. Let's talk more about who the audiences are that are coming.
Absolutely. Well, as Gary mentioned, you know, we have an incredible lineup of top executives, government officials from the US, Europe, and also just global thought leaders who'll be participating on our stages. We also have tens of thousands of attendees who are registered, and actually nearly 30% of them are international. We have the majority of the international coming from Canada and Mexico, Europe, Japan, and Korea. And you know, while we're really excited to
notice how she didn't say China,
Las Vegas, we also know that not everybody is going to be able to travel to Las Vegas this year. So, Jean, you've helped lead a lot of our efforts on building our digital platform for CES 2022. Do you want to talk a little more about what people can join in if they can't come to Las Vegas and join us? But you're going to miss out on a lot of fun if you don't come to Vegas.
So let's talk about the digital platform. So most of you know that we actually created an all digital event for CES. For CES 2021 this year, and it was really a first of its kind. It was, and it's still, I think, today the largest event of its kind, because remember, CES is about both the conference program, which many people cover, but also the show floor, and we created that experience for people to engage with.
It wasn't that bad last year for being an all digital thing. It was not that bad.
That we've selected Web Summit as our back-end technology provider for CES. So, and you guys are familiar with some of the events that they produce themselves. Like us, they have live events, but also do digital events as well. So they were a good choice as a technology partner for us. All of our exhibitors will be joining us in Las Vegas, but they're also going to have a digital presence on the platform. So you're going to be able to go in and connect with those exhibitors, set up meetings, check out their presentations that they have online. You can watch the media day presentations. You can access the keynotes live. You can view the conference sessions. And you can also, in addition to catching those live, you can also go back and catch them on demand. Because we know there's a lot of content out there, and the benefit of digital is you're going to be able to go back and check out all that great stuff.
That's going to be big for me, and I'm hoping to get a lot of these on the show.
We're going to add the rest of
on the day
content that we've recorded up there, so there's going to be a lot of additional content that people can interact with after the show. And
we're actually keeping the platform open through the end of January, so a lot of opportunity to go back and get the stories that you may have missed. And if you're in person, you're also going to be using the digital platform. You're going to use the app to plan your schedule. You can use it to network with other participants. You can use it to set up meetings as well with exhibitors. So lots of choice, in terms of the tools that you use. So Karen, we've been getting a lot of questions in prior discussions with the media, and even today on the chat that we're seeing here, is people are asking about our health protocols. Obviously, we made the decision early that this would be an event for people who have been vaccinated only. It was an important decision for us to make, and important to make early. But let's talk about
definitely good. Unvaccinated don't need to be with 100,000 people.
Sure, absolutely.
In a closed
first of all,
space.
We want to make sure that we're able to verify vaccine information, but we also know we want to keep this simple and make it easy for people to be able to move around all of our facilities. So we're going to be using the Clear app to help verify vaccination status for US-based attendees. And we have a similar type of app that we'll be using for international attendees. And we'll be sharing more information on that in the coming weeks. The Clear information is actually up on our website now at ces.tech if you want to find out more. And basically you download the app and you upload your vaccine card into that. And then all we see is really the proof that you've done that. And the app is free, so don't worry about any fees attached to that. It's free to use.
And it's really
good
simple.
stuff.
I mean, it's really simple to actually use. And I don't have my phone with me, but it is really simple.
I wish they had a live chat. I think that'd be fun.
Absolutely. And I know we've also got some questions about what are the vaccines that we're accepting. So we're actually following the US government guidelines for international travel, and we're going to be accepting all vaccines that are approved by the FDA or the World Health Organization. I know we've also seen some questions on masking, and right now in Las Vegas, masks are required indoors in all Las Vegas venues. And so we're really working through what our protocols are going to be on this, because we know some of this is shifting and this is driven by local guidelines, but we also want all attendees to feel welcome and comfortable, including our international visitors. And I know last month we were in Europe, and in Amsterdam, you didn't have to have masks in certain locations, but in Paris, you always had to have masks. And so, we really want to weigh that balance and make sure that we're doing everything that makes everybody feel welcomed and comfortable at CES. So we'll be finalizing our guidelines in December, and we will make sure that we provide all those details well in advance so everybody understands clearly what is going to be expected at showtime.
Even though the U.S. government and China have so many standoffs,
about the conferences, we have social distancing measures.
I'd say a good 40% of CES are Chinese companies and Chinese business people.
You're going to be seeing some designated aisles that are one way. And, we're also adding extra space between our seats and our keynote rooms in all of our conference venues. So definitely social distancing, better cleaning protocols, all of the
those are usually elbow to elbow. I don't know how they're going to be able to manage that.
A lot. And you can read all about it at ces.tech and just click on all of our health protocols, and that will give you more information. So Jean, I think it's time to start asking questions from the audience.
All right, so let's move to questions, and thank you for those who've submitted them. First, I want to welcome back Gary from Detroit. So as a reminder, if you'd like to ask questions, you haven't done so far, you can type them into the chat box, but we've already
do I have a question?
A lot of questions, so let's jump right in. So Gary, I'm actually going to throw the first question to you. Actually comes from Glenn Chapman of AFP. And he wants to know how attendance by exhibitors and attendees compare to pre-pandemic numbers. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Like every event being held, especially the global events, trade shows that are being held now and throughout probably the next year will be a
That's
little
not
bit
the first
smaller.
question.
That's just expected. A lot of people can't travel. They're uncomfortable traveling, especially China, for example, has protocols which require quarantining for up to 4 weeks. So we expect a much lower attendance from China both on
Ooh.
the exhibitor side and the attendee
That's
side.
going to
But we'll be
affect
a really significant size.
them.
We already have over 1,700 exhibitors signed up. The press registration is really high. And we're, as Karen said, we're getting very healthy registration, but we'll be lower. And also what will look very different is we have a new hall. That's what Karen was talking about, that West Hall where we have the automobile and other exhibitors. And we'll also have wider aisles. So it's going to feel different. It's going to look different. All the social distancing things we're doing.
4,400 exhibitors, and they said 1,900.
We're trying to be safe as
It's half the size of what it was in 2019.
We also want to set expectations because we're big as an organization on honesty and transparency and disclosure. So I'm sharing with you right now, it's going to be a great show. Like other shows we expect, and we're seeing in registration, the senior level people that are coming, the people that do the business, the largest companies matter. But every company, including ours, has a certain number of people that can't travel or won't travel or are uncomfortable traveling. And we also have visa issues, and we're working through all these. But we expect a really amazing show because people love to be together.
It's going to be less than half the size of a regular
So
CES
let's
show.
go to the next question, and I'm looking at this, Karen. This is probably a good one for you. Lots of questions from the audience asking about digital.
37
health and
questions, by the way,
digital
is
healthcare.
lots.
You touched upon it briefly as one of our fastest growing areas, but what can you tell us more about digital health at CES 2022? What's it going to look like, and also what's the impact of the pandemic that's had on health and fitness?
Sure. Well, so first of all, the digital health category is located now at the Las Vegas Convention Center. We moved it into the North Hall. So for those of you who are looking at it, is now North Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center. And actually, it's a growing area. Fitness is over.
There's a good puppy right there.
Sands, which has now been renamed the Venetian Expo. And not only has it been just a big year, I mean, think about all the new speakers that we just talked about that are coming from the healthcare industry. So we have everybody from Abbott to Moderna, and then in the fitness side, Peloton. And, I think that we've all just seen how healthcare has been very important this past year with telehealth medicine and diagnostic,
LVG, how you doing? Yeah, I remember.
So a lot of growth in that area.
There will be many issues. Totally believe that.
You had your 100th ride on a cycle, on a spin bike. I know it wasn't Peloton, but a local studio. So
I'm sure that some of it is, they're saying that they have spread out seating, wider aisles, all that kind of thing. They did not confirm that they're doing masks at the venues. But with China having the 4-week quarantine to and from, I feel like it's going to be less than half the size of a regular CES. But I mean, still, that's going to be, 75,000 people in 2,000 different companies. That's still going to be a big show.
And that's why there's such tremendous interest in healthcare technology. We've seen telehealth and telemedicine and everything. And that's why healthcare is really being fundamentally changed by technology. And with inflation out there being such an issue, think about it. There's only 2 ways we could combat inflation, which is now a global problem. And that is obviously by raising interest rates, which nobody really likes unless you're on a fixed income, or better productivity. And productivity in healthcare technology has been proven by the pandemic to make a difference. And that's it's saving trips to the doctor and costs.
Productivity is definitely going to go up.
So we're pretty excited and optimistic about what we'll see at the floor, all the solutions to the real healthcare problems that people have.
So next question, I could probably take this one. It's from Megan Kavanagh at Reviewed.com and USA Today. Megan wants to know how much of the show in Las Vegas will be available digitally and how we're balancing the digital and in-person aspects of the show. So obviously the goal for us, as we're back, and we keep saying we're excited to be back, and we are, because nothing really replaces.
I really feel like I should ask a question, but
CES Live.
don't have one
We really do want to make sure
off
that
top of my
those who are
head.
joining us digitally are going to be able to really get a feel for what's happening on the ground in Las Vegas. So you're going to be able to see some of the scenes that are coming from Las Vegas. We're going to be able to share that with you. As I said, you'll be able to get all the press conferences. You'll be able to be joining all of those live or get them on demand.
Mandalay Bay, I honestly, I feel like I caught COVID in January 2020 from CES. It was, January 2020 from CES. That, I almost guarantee it. I shook hands with so many people from Wuhan, China, and the fact that, there were reported cases of November is the earliest I've heard of. I wouldn't doubt October. It's been kind of quietly spreading for some time even before that. So I honestly don't feel like, especially with Delta and things, they do not have a handle on this. And I'm not going to be traveling to CES this year. It's going to be all digital. If I catch a virus, it's going to be my computer's problem, not mine.
The show, the TVs, the smart TVs, the home entertainment. Let's talk about that and what's happening in Central Hall.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. Central Hall at the Las Vegas Convention Center is still where you're going to see all of the television, all the breakthroughs.
It does seem just maybe 1 year too early to be jumping into a full-blown CES.
And, these past 2
but
years,
hey, again, attendance should be less than half of what it usually is. So
you'll see a lot more
maybe there's a chance
on the whole entertainment side of streaming and how that plays into the whole TV experience through C-Space.
One of the problems with CES, and no offense to the people that go there, there's a lot of older people that go. And I feel like a lot of them are pretty susceptible to stuff like COVID. So I hope no one dies from going to this event. But I know there will be some, sadly.
Those companies are going to be
TCL, yes.
So, all right. So next question, probably actually again for Karen. It's on transportation. Many people want to know more about the venues and the transportation. How are we going to get around Las Vegas this year?
Sure. So let me talk a little bit about how we've moved some of the categories around. So first of all,
I'm betting Uber
about the Las Vegas Convention Center. The new West Hall does have all of automotive put inside of it, and so pretty much everything automotive and electric vehicles, short distance mobility, all of that is in West Hall. Then at the Las Vegas Convention Center in Central Hall, we still have all of the big traditional categories. We've also added gaming into there. And in North Hall, we have smart cities, resilience, and digital health. We are not using South Hall this year. We opened this brand new, huge building in West Hall, and so we were
kind of curious if they're going to be operating the loop
floor plans are going to be coming
and shuttles, but probably shuttles with a maximum capacity
for what days they want to be at the show.
Maybe the loop.
And
we'll see.
We still are using the Sands Expo, which is now called the Venetian Expo. They renamed and rebranded. We're using that.
Did not know that.
Park, smart home technologies,
the Tram.
And then obviously we have Aria for C-Space, and then we still have suites in the Renaissance, Westgate, Wynn, Encore. So a lot of places to cover. We are still running our shuttle bus system throughout Las Vegas. There will be social distancing on it. And the one difference this year is you are going to have to show your badge to be able to get on that shuttle bus, because we want to make sure that your vaccine information has been verified. So that will be one difference that people should note. Monorail is still up and running. And then for those of you at the Las Vegas Convention Center, you can try.
I've not seen the underground tram.
And that is the permanent people mover system that has been built into the convention center. It's an underground tunnel.
Oh, there you go. She's talking about it.
Teslas that are connecting people from each venue. So you can jump in the station at the West Hall and it'll take you to Central Hall, or you can jump in the Central Hall and go back, or you can go to South Hall. So it's really now this permanent.
Elon Musk helped us with moving people.
So time for probably one or two more questions. Gary, I think this would be probably a good one for you. So James Wilcox with Consumer Reports has asked about the chip shortages and supply chain issues and how that's affecting the industry more broadly.
Well, there's definitely an impact. The chip shortages, they are what they are. They're not going away in the short term and maybe even the midterm. But people are investing, companies are investing in factories, so the problem will be resolved. The distribution channel issues with the supply chain, they're especially deep on the West Coast of the United States. We have a challenge with our ports there for a whole variety of reasons. But we'll work through it. There might be some spot shortages in the holiday season, and people may not get precisely what they want. But I guess the good news for the industry is they're selling products.
Yeah, I'm sure the homeless issue just got worse with
something that's healthy. That's never
with COVID and the lack of business.
Companies have actually changed their prices upward. I don't even know how to handle that. So, but from a consumer perspective, they can get what they want pretty much, but they have to be careful and patient. And we've already seen that they've been shopping earlier. October was a very busy month for not only our industry, but
I heard the other day that the chip shortages are going to affect seat warmers in some of the new cars. So little things are going to change like that, but they'll adapt.
Have some discussions about that. Certainly at CTA as an association, we're pushing some major policy changes for the Biden administration to get aggressive, for the Congress to step in. We've even asked our federal government, the regulatory agencies, to start looking at a whole range of things, because it's just not only the delays, it's the cost now of shipping a container, which is gone from $2,500 to $25,000 if you get on, and then you have to pay extra fees. And so there's a lot there to unwind, and will be a major discussion item at CES. And that's why it's so important for people to come and have that firsthand experience, because the manufacturer-retailer relationship is a lot what CES is based upon, with the distributors in there, and they need to work out these issues face-to-face, maintain those relationships.
Definitely need more made in America.
Almost 2 years. It's been that ability to connect face-to-face and build on our relationships. And talking with CEOs around the world, that is the number one issue.
I'm sure there's just nowhere to move them to.
It's how we can get back, and that's why, especially at the CEO level, and the
as hard as it is to see the, I'm sure the homeless, situation, I'm sure in California and Vegas and places, I mean, you got to do more business, and more people have to, have more revenue coming in so they can actually work, and, but yeah, it's gonna be a problem everywhere.
2022 include Waymo, VinFast. It's a Vietnamese car company, first time ever at CES. We have Sierra Nevada, which we talked about, Zero G, which is a no gravity environment that they're demonstrating. Too Simple, which is a self-driving freight truck. Beyond
Zero Gravity,
which is an
that'll be
AI
fun.
robotic kitchen that helps look at a dish and helps you make it, which I can't wait to see. And then Autograph in NFTs. So those are just a handful of some of the new companies that you're going to see at CES 2022.
Great. Okay, so we are out of time. Thank you for those who have able to stay over the 30-minute mark. We know that we couldn't answer all of the great questions today. So if we
Didn't answer any of the questions,
contact us at media@cta.tech, and we'll try and answer as much as we can. You'll also find an update of all of our announcements today at ces.tech. We'll be releasing, as Karen said, the floor plan on the website at the end of November. If you haven't registered, make sure you do so. If you're only able to join us digitally, then registration for the digital portion of the show will open on December 9th. And if you missed anything that we covered today,
December 9th. I guess I signed up for in person.
Tomorrow morning, that will be available.
Even if I'm not going in person.
Garen, I said it again. Karen, Gary. Any final words?
Good old Garen.
That's okay.
I said it was live.
Well, obviously, we're excited to see everybody back at CES 2022. And I have to say, obviously, wear comfortable shoes if you're coming to Vegas.
Gary, final word.
So thanks for joining us. And if you can't make it to Las Vegas, please join us digitally, and have a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season.
Thank you, Gary. And there you go. Dun, 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 dun.